My name is Yvette Baez-Doss. My daughter Natalia is a senior at Hudson Catholic High School in Jersey City, New Jersey. And we found Quad through a simple Google search. I Googled admissions counselor in the first place out of a need to find someone who would help through the college application process, with the hopes of finding someone who would make the process a little more seamless and who would help me understand all of the changes that had occurred in the process since the last time I'd gone through it, which in today's technological era, 4 years ago is light years ago. So I wanted to make sure that I was informed about the process, how to be as successful as possible, and how to set Natalia up for success during the college application process. What moved me from just being merely curious to wanting to commit was when I started to understand how much work went into making students stand out among their peer group. And even more so was this idea that Quad would first perform an analysis of my daughter to help develop a persona that would help set her apart among her peer group during the application process. Initially, we started with a kind of a mood board, if you will, to kind of figure out what were the characteristics that we wanted to really tease out in her application. So it started off with a brainstorming session that was Natalia as a leader, Natalia as an athlete, Natalia as an aspiring healthcare professional. Based on the preliminary interview, all of a sudden I understood that there were some pillars about Natalia that I wanted to make sure came through in the application process. And the whole conversation around the development of a persona helped me, especially my background as a marketer, try to figure out like what was the story that I was going to tell about Natalia and what were the key points of differentiation that were going to set her apart. Once we were assigned a counselor, we established a cadence that worked for both us and him. So we decided that we would meet once a week, created kind of a shared Google Doc where we would either, kind of bounce ideas off of one another. He would go in and look at the updates that we had made, leave us some really, really tangible feedback. And we actually had an in-person virtual meeting every Sunday out of my home and wherever my counselor was at the time. That really helped us plan our efforts. It helped us stay on task, and it gave us a natural cadence of communication to help keep the process going. It worked so incredibly well that we had set a deadline to be done by Thanksgiving, and we were done well in advance of that. We were ready for early decision applications by November 1st, easily. Where I found the most value was really twofold. The first of which was the fact that Quad paired us with a professional in Natalia's desired field. So Natalia very early on had stated that her interest was to be an anesthesiologist. And it just so happened that Quad had somebody on staff who happens to practice anesthesia. And so having somebody with that professional background was incredibly important to us. The other part of it, which I did not anticipate, was the fact that this person also happened to be a person of color. So having somebody who could help us tell the story, not just from the perspective of somebody who has aspirations to be in healthcare, but also that experience as a Black and brown person in this country, I thought was incredibly helpful and not anything that I anticipated by any means. And that proved to be incredibly valuable as Natalia shaped her story about wanting to be a Black female doctor in America. The decision for me around return on investment was exactly that. I thought of it as an investment that could have future returns. And while initially the sticker shock was real, the way that I thought about it was if Natalia was able to get one scholarship, even for half of tuition for 1 year, it would pay for itself and be an incredibly valuable investment for me as a parent. And it ended up being that not only did we get accepted to one of our top 3 schools, but the admission also came with a $25,000 annual scholarship. So in terms of return on investment, it will be an investment that will yield 40 to 60% returns in the long term for me as a parent. So she got accepted to Loyola Marymount. She got accepted to Spelman University, which is a historically Black college and very revered among Black women in this country. She got into George Washington. She got into, I think, pretty much all of her top three. The only place that she did not get into, which was heartbreaking for us, was Wesleyan. Ultimately, she got into one of her top three with a $100,000 scholarship over 4 years. And we committed last week to Loyola Maryland University. The advice that I would have for families beginning the process now is to think about your child's college education and its investment as one of the largest financial investments you and your family will make over the course of your life. Other than our homes, we don't pay for anything nearly to the extent that we pay for our children's college education. And working with Quad really helped me understand the value of that investment and helped me prioritize where I wanted to focus, how I was going to make Natalia stand out, and really to make her as competitive as possible among an incredibly competitive kind of roster of candidates. The end result of her personal statement, I think, is a testament to everything that Quad really came to the table with in terms of setting her apart, allowing us to tell her story in a way that was compelling, that was based in fact. Our counselor provided so much information to us around the medical profession, and helped us really understand what admissions boards were going to be looking for in candidates. And the end result of it, I think, was the perfect combination of all of those things. It's what makes Natalia unique, what makes her competitive, and why should you want her on your university campus.